Say it shorter, Africa, say it louder. Say it shorter. Salam alaikum, assalamu alaikum, salam alaikum, assalamu alaikum, salam alaikum, assalamu alaikum, salam alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
United we stand, divided we fall. All we need is freedom. All we need is love. Free Africans free. Free Africans free.
Be free, be free, free from slavery. Free, be free, be free, free from slavery. Free, free yourself from mental slavery. Free, free yourself from mental slavery. Free, free yourself from mental slavery. Free, be free, be free, free from slavery. Be free, be free, free from slavery. Yeah.
We're here to speak the word. We're here to stop the war. We're here to speak the word. We're here to stop the war. We're here to speak the word. We're here to stop the war.
Salam alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Salam alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Salam alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Salam alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, African one. If you wanna be free, the most simplest wall in the world. Get yourself developed with the reggae music coming straight to you from the one of the most peaceful man. So many lying down on the streets, whatever them we are dancing at the ends. Get yourself the most free time. I preach about freedom. Preach about freedom.
We're here to speak the word. We're here to stop the war. We're here to speak the word. We're here to stop the war. We're here to speak the word. We're here to stop the war.
Take a look on the street, isolation, youth. Stop violence, isolation. You have to listen.
Good morning. It is 11:30 a.m. in Juba, and it is 2:30 a.m. here, where I am standing, where I am sitting. Good morning, viewers of Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. I welcome all of you all around the world to this very special episode of Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. As you can see below the screen, the topic of the discussion today is what you failed to recognize during the daytime or during the daylight will prevent you from sleeping at night. Actually, this is taken from the Dinka parable. Again, what you fail to recognize during the daytime will prevent you from sleeping at night. What do I mean by that? Or what do this quote from the Dinka wisdom mean by that? It means if you did not take care of your own issues, something that actually you know has something to do with the security well-being or something to do with your economic If you do not take it, if you do not take care of it during the time that actually you're supposed to be taking care of that issue, it's like you to back you later. It's like you to hand you down later. And that's why they say you better take care of it at the daylight. Because when they were talking about this parable, or when they bring in this say or one of their wisdom, there was no light that time when people live in village. They rely on moonlight. They rely on stars at night. So that means that it will be dark. And when it's going to be dark, and if you are not prepared for that darkness, and then it's going to be difficult. You are going to keep your eye on your luck, on whatever that has your animal in it. It would be very difficult, right? And that's what they mean by that. If you did not take care, or what you fail to take care during a daylight, it will prevent you from sleeping at night. So you'll be thinking about that, because there is a lot of hyenas around the village. You have goats, you have chickens, you have cows, you have all sort of, these are the resources. As someone living in a village, these are your resources. But if you are not securing, if you are not taking care of your resources, there is a lot of hyenas when it gets dark. And then they will steal. And then they will kill your stuff. Good morning, Rosalind. Good to see you. So that's what it means. So now, to talk about this, today, I am going to talk about the issue of oil that been shut down. And all of you are aware that the oil is the only resources that South Sudan government depend upon. Economy depend upon the oil export. That's where they bring the money that they divide in J1, the money that's supposed to be the source of income, the money that's supposed to be used for developmental project in our beloved country, the Republic of South Sudan. But the oil now has been shut down because the leader that we have, they did not strategize. And I keep saying this word every single day when I go live and conduct an episode. They did not have a long-term strategy for this beautiful country. They thought they are taller enough. They will have hat. They wear a military rank. And then they can be in charge without plan. They thought that is enough to be a leader. But not too long ago, I said, no. It's not just a suit or a tie or like a jalabia or wearing a watch like I do. These are the things that will make you to be a leader. No. It is the plan that you plan. Be more charismatic, empathy, patient, using diplomacy, being a critical thinker. These are the things that will make you a good leader. Sometimes people wonder, there are some leaders are not recognized, and there are some leaders are well distinguished all over the world. And people sometimes wonder, how come the president of that, I'm not talking about the bigger country, but I'm talking even about the smaller country. If we talk about the leaders in our continent of Africa, there are some along the history are well distinguished. They are well recognized, like Norma Kwame of Ghana. Why he was recognized or distinguished among the leaders is because of what he has done. Is because the plan that he has for his nation. That what made him leader that to be remembered always. And history will never shy away but mention that leader of Ghana, the one that one day said, if we gain independence and the rest of Africa is still under colonies, that is not an independent. Africa must be free from all. That normal, Kwame Norma, and also Julius Nyerere of Tanzania is well recognized because he's one day set a foundation of Tanzanian. And that's why Tanzanians have become more peaceful, become more democratic. It takes a charismatic leader to fight for the right and to do the right thing. It fights someone that to denounce self-interest, someone that care and love his people to get the nation to that position. And that's why they are well recognized. And there are many, many cases that we can mention, like Gandhi, Mandela, and also Jomo Kenyatta. Though the Kenyan later they become more corrupt, but their first leader, the one that set the foundation, it was well. He's the one day said that the European came with the Bible and they taught us, to pray and our eyes are closed. They gave us the Bible and we pray and our eyes are closed. And when we open our eyes, we have the Bible and they have the land. So they stole our land. That's in Kenya. It's really powerful. That Jomo Kenyatta. And many, many more. So what I'm trying to tell you here, the viewers of concerned citizens of South Sudan, that it doesn't matter. Leadership, it doesn't make you well known only. It doesn't make you to be recognized. What makes you actually to be recognized is what you can do, what you do with that leadership. When you become a president or become a leader, what are you going to do? And when you do well, and when you care, and when you fulfills the dream and aspiration of the people, that actually will take you to the next level. And people will start talking about, oh, this guy has done this, Patrick Lumumba has done this, Coleman has done this, Jomo Kenyatta have done this, Nyerere have done this, Washington have done this, and so forth. It's not just, for you to be president, khalas, you are a leader. No. Anyone can get there. But if you can get there to be a president, but you will never become a leader unless you have to do something. Because that's what leader mean. Is somebody cares, somebody passionate, okay? Somebody have that empathy. So go back to our topic. As I said, if you did not do, or as I said from our topic, what you fail to recognize during the daytime will prevent you from sleeping at night. Our leader, they had an opportunity when we gain our independence, even before we gain our independence. They have an opportunity, and I keep repeating this every single day, that actually South Sudan is a landlocked country. And when you are a landlocked country, you go extra mile, you think ahead of yourself. We would have built a refinery that time. So we can refine this oil and we sell ready oil to the neighboring countries. We can sell to Uganda, we can sell to Kenya, we can sell to Sudan, we can sell to Ethiopia. But that thinking was far away from our leaders. They did not think it is good to produce locally. They had an opportunity that actually to diversify the economy. They have an opportunity that to take the oil money, okay, and use the oil money for agriculture so we can produce our food locally. These are opportunities that our leaders they have actually. But they did not. They thought, okay, we have a lot of oil money coming in. Why do we worry about that? And they did not think about the future. And they did not calculate that actually our relationship with Sudan and Ethiopia and Kenya and Uganda, because we are in the middle of hyenas here, Jamal. We got to believe this. They did not calculate that what Sudan has, what Kenya has, what Uganda has, and then we can have that balance of power and then we can have that mutual interest between us among ourselves. To be respected, we got to produce our food locally. It is very important, and that's why I keep, focusing my campaign on this. We have to produce our food locally. We have to empower our farm. It got to be the policy of the government to produce. Okay, so the citizen now, when we are producing our food locally, we will use our own currency. You are not going to use any foreign currency. You are not going to use dollars. You are not going to use any other, and that actually will help our currency to go up, to have a value, to be stronger. See, because there is no way your money can be stronger if you don't have any local production, if you don't use, if you don't farm, if you don't produce your own food. And they have failed on that. This is because they did not think. And that's why this say in the Dinka, what you fail to recognize during the daytime will prevent you from sleeping. Are they sleeping right now? Are they become more awake? I doubt, because the issue of this suffering of people of South Sudan are not actually issue of concerns, are not issues of concern to the setting government of Salva Kiir Mayardit. If they were really issue of their concerns, they would have done a lot so long time ago. But there are some people who love the country actually. They cannot sleep because of this suffering. They keep thinking at night. They would say, if this thing was taken care of, if we did this, if we did this, if we created a refinery, if we farm enough, if we produce our food, and then we wouldn't even have to go through all this struggle right now. Because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Your friend of yesterday can become enemy tomorrow. And your enemy of yesterday become your friend tomorrow. That's the way of life. And that's how the world operates, you see. But this is the truth. I understand, my brother, it better be shut down. But I hope this can teach them a lesson. But unfortunately, it's not teaching them any lesson. Sudan may come out and say, oh, well, because of the war, the war is the one that causing this. But Sudan actually is trying very hard, to get South Sudan. And I keep saying this. Sudan is going to be our enemy for life. It's going to be our permanent enemy because we break away from there. Look what happened. Pakistan and India, they were one country. But now they are rival for life. They are enemies always, 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 always. They have that region of Kashmir between them. Okay? Because the one that we have in Sudan, they are so bitter about South Sudan. So they can create anything and shut you down and shut this oil down. And that's why it requires you to be ahead of yourself. Okay? So now, yesterday, I was conducting this show here, and I talk about how the rate of dollars, 100 US dollars to South Sudanese pound, yesterday, by this time, I know now it's almost, noon in Juba. It was 225,000. 100 US dollars was 225,000 South Sudanese pound. Okay, today you are talking about 240,000 for 100 US dollars. 100 US dollar today is 240 and 245 and 250 somewhere in some part of the country, in Juba. So is that really what we want? Was it necessary to get to that point? It was not necessary to get to that point, but because of lack of working and lack of willing to take this country up, lack of political will and the corruption, and not thinking about the future, that what got us to this position that we are in right now. And President Kiir is not even thinking about this. He's touring. He's going all over. I know he returned back yesterday. He came back yesterday from his tour, some African countries. I don't know what he was touring for. Said he wanted stability in the great region, peace and stability. Why back home there is no peace and stability? And that's why I asked that question yesterday. Now President Kiir is touring great regions, lake regions country. Has he ever think about touring, going to Malakal, going to Rang, going to all these places? Before you go to a neighboring countries or even going further and start talking about the stability in the great region, lake region of Africa. Have you ever thought about your country, about the suffering country people here within the country? I know you will never. I'm already convinced that Salva Kiir will not do anything. And that's why I keep calling about change. Because when change comes, people of South Sudan will sit down and ask a question. Why did we fight the common enemy for 22 years? And then we will have an answer. Another question. What went wrong after we become an independent nation? Then we will have a brainstorm, and have us answer that question and say, okay, what can we do now? How can we get out now? What are the core values that we have been fighting for? Justice, liberty, and prosperity. Okay, how can we be just country? Rewrite the constitution, do this and do this and do that, and agree for the governing, and agree how we can structure our economy to be stronger, to be recognized, because right now we are nothing in the region. You know, well, I know my brother Garang, you keep talking about the role of UN. I don't know what exactly you want to say about UN. The reason UN in South Sudan is because government of South Sudan has not showed the leadership. That's why the UN is still there. We wouldn't even have UN after two years or 1 year after our independence. UN would have gone. But if you are creating political turmoil, you are creating war, and you're creating communal violence, and people are fighting along the country, of course, US is going to have a reason to stay there. You know that. But when you try to live in peace and harmony in your country, UN has no business to be there. But we are the one that inviting UN actually in our own affairs, because this is what I know in my own, opinion. UN shouldn't be staying in South Sudan if South Sudan was not in war. But after 2 years after we gain our independence, then we plunge the country to the war, and we start fighting, and we violated human rights, and we violated international community laws, because when we become members of UN, we already agree for international law to abide by human rights, universal right, which is respect the human right, respect the right of people. And with that, when we, initial all these rights and laws, that's why we admitted to become member of the United Nations. And by admitting to become member of the United Nations, if we violate any of those and we become more reluctant and we are not doing what we're supposed to be doing to protect sovereignty, the people of the countries, people of South Sudan, and then UN has that opportunity to come in. But actually, UN was in South Sudan even before we became an independent, because they were there to make sure everything is okay. They are the one that helped. They are the one that took care of referendum. You are aware of that. They helped with the referendum. Again, if we set up our country in the right way, UN would have left long time ago. And we would have been a great example for other countries that South Sudan actually gained their independence, and they have a right foot, they have a good setting, and now they are running smoothly. There is no fight, there is no human rights, there is freedom of expression, and they are more democratic. And now nobody, and we are producing food, we are feeding our own people, not to rely on UN to come and bring aid, for people to eat and medicine and all these things. See, that's why UN is still there, my brother Garam. That's why UN is still there. Yes. And I know there are people that they can make a lot of messy so they can create employment opportunity. UN, not all of them are there, for the interest actually of the people. I understand that point. But who invite that? Who made that happen? It's us. It is us. And that's why we need that change. We need that change because when we have that change, the question that I keep asking every time, what went wrong and why we fought with the North, why we fought the government in Khartoum, why we fought because we have the answer. And then when what went wrong, we need to fix it. And if we fix it, UN will not be there. We'll be stable, we'll be like any other country, in the region. Not only in the region, other countries who are really advanced, we can be, you know. So I hope that's my answer on that. Look, as I said, in our region, now the neighboring countries, they start planning, they start strategizing on our natural resources. And I gave an example of Ethiopia yesterday, how Ethiopia now is building a huge refineries that cost 4 point something billion dollars, and they don't produce any oil. But because they see that there's a weak leader in South Sudan, so they are not thinking about building refinery. They are not thinking about doing anything. They are not thinking about adding something. Even when we gain our independence, okay, the oil, the oil field, there are some oil field actually need some maintenance. They need some work. Okay. When we gain independence, we were producing 180,000 barrels a day. But because of weak of this government, they did not even add a nail, musmar. They did not add it. They did not even make maintenance on those oil fields so they all can function to produce. They did not. These leaders who are sitting in Juba, they just wanted to get. But they don't think about producing. They don't think about adding anything on the economic for the country. See, that's why I'm saying they did not think about agriculture. They did not think about mining. They did not think about creating stability and security so the tourists can come to the country and investors can come to the country. They did not think about building dams so we can have a permanent electricity in the country. And these are the things that actually can bring, can create a strong economy, create an economy that you employ where youth would employ people. And when you're employing youth and your people, there will be no crisis. Because some crisis, actually, some people, when they rebel, they go there with Mr. X and all these things. It's because there is no opportunity. But when there is a job creation in the country, when you are really planning future, and then no one is going to rebel. Those who are rebelling with people, if somebody wanted to rebel because he need a position, nobody's going to follow him. No one. Because if somebody is working and his children are going to school because the school has been constructed, tomorrow the kids are going to school. Do you think these people are going to rebel? They are not going to follow anyone. Even the war of 2013, when Dr. Yang Machar rebelled, and a lot of people follow him. Do you think if our country was really, really in planning economic, growth for youth and people, would you think a lot of people would have followed Yang Machar? No, they wouldn't. But there is no plan. There is no even retirement for our army. They cannot retire. They are not even getting their salaries, chapter 1. Leave alone the chapter 2, the services, and chapter 3, the developmental projects in the country. They are not. They eat everything. They eat green and dry. These leaders, they are not. They don't care. And now, because of that, as I said, because of that, the neighbors, South Sudan, of course, is the richest country in the region. No one can tell you South Sudan is poor. South Sudan is very rich. We are very rich. We are rich with natural resources, with oil, with agriculture, water, from rain, from river, okay, minerals, animals, resources, you name it. We have everything. We do have everything. But these countries in the region, the neighboring countries, now they are taking advantage They said a chance come once. Maybe South Sudan will have some change. And if there is a new leader, we will have, this is what they are thinking now. Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda, Sudan, all this. They are thinking now South Sudan will have a good leader. Maybe this year, maybe next year, maybe years to come. But why not taking this advantage now? Because South Sudan now have a very weak leader. They don't think about anything, any project. No dam, no electricity, no investment, nothing. So now they are taking advantage. And that's why you see Uganda is doing what it's doing. They are encroaching our land always, right? They are encroaching. They are Kenya is encroaching. They are taking our money. Our money are in the banks in Uganda. You know, their army is being paid because the president actually rely on them. He wanted to protect this seat. He wanted to be in power until alive. And then they got him. They already know. They already know what South Sudan has. They already know how much money we have. They already know how money are how many army we have. They already know the budget that for our SSPDF, because we put our money in Kenyan commercial bank, the money that's supposed to be in the bank of the government. This is secrecy. There is no secret to them because now they know everything about South Sudan. So now they are taking that advantage. And that's why I'm saying that they are constructing now. Ethiopia is constructing big. Ethiopia is constructing big dam. Yeah, it's constructing big. It's not already constructed dam. It's constructing big refinery. And they know because they're going to take crude oil from South Sudan. South Sudan doesn't have a refinery. And they know this is a weak government, it's a dumb government. They don't do anything. So they will take that opportunity and they will do it, and they will use it on their own advantage. That's exactly what's happening. Now, if I ask you a question, my brothers and sisters, if I ask you a question, what are we really gaining from being members of East Africa community? What are we gaining? Just to have that light blue passport? Our dark passport, our navy colored passport, actually is better than that light blue passport of East African. We are not gaining anything whatsoever. And I will tell you why I'm saying that. This passport of South Sudan now is seeing is nothing. It has a value because we have a collateral. We have resources underground and above the ground. We do. South Sudan is a rich country. So now we are just consuming within this East Africa community. We are not a producing. And actually we are consuming from the production that Uganda is making. So we become market to Uganda. We become market to Kenya. We are market to Uganda when it comes to agricultural product. They farm, okay, and they bring them and consume in South Sudan. And South Sudan has a huge fertile land. And if we farm, actually we can feed all entire Africa. But because the policy of President Kidd doesn't want us to grow, doesn't want this development project, because he wants people to be oppressed so he can control them. That's why he allowed that to happen. Uganda can produce and bring to South Sudan. In a return, Uganda actually will protect his presidency. So we are consuming. So being in this East African community is not helping us. We are not gaining anything. We are losing, actually. We are losing our money because we are just sending money there. One, we are consuming. Number two, we are a member of this East Africa community. And our people cannot even work. They cannot set up businesses. You are not allowed to work in Uganda. I know they don't have job, but still there's some men who have business, want to set up business. You are not allowed to do that. Ugandan will not allow you to do that. You are not allowed to set up business in Kenya, and yet you are a member of East Africa. My apology for disruption that we have on our network. I apologize. I hope that did not cause any for inconvenience for you. Yeah, we are back. Sorry, it looked like we have some disruption. I don't know where is that from. So I'm going back to what I was saying. So South Sudanese people are not allowed to work in Uganda, are not allowed to work in Kenya. Are we gaining anything? We are not gaining anything. We are not gaining anything from there. Okay, so that means again we are losing. We are the losing. You don't work, you don't open businesses, right? We are just consuming. We don't have any product that we are produced to sell to them, because when you are part of community, there is a mutual interest. But there is no interest. We are not getting any interest. We are not gaining anything. And also, those who are in the government, there's a lot of South Sudanese actually are obsessed with Kenyan education system, Ugandan education system. Those who are taking their children to Uganda and to Kenya to acquire education there. What happening? Our people or our children, they are studying in Uganda, okay, and Kenya, and yet they have to pay the fees in dollars. If you take your child to Uganda, you have to pay fees in Uganda in the school. And yet South Sudanese are the member of East African community. But yet we are not supposed to be paying in dollars, because since we have that, brotherhood and community thing, we are supposed to be paying in Ugandan shilling. We are supposed to be paying in Uganda shilling, but we are not paying in Uganda shilling. We are not allowed to pay in Uganda shilling. South Sudanese who rent houses and apartment in Uganda, they are paying in Uganda. And yet we are a member of East African community. We are supposed to be paying in shilling. The same thing in Kenya. We cannot own business. We cannot work. You are not allowed to work. They give you a lot of requirement. You have to be permanent resident. You have to be giving a visa to stay in Kenya. You have to be giving a visa to stay in Uganda. And yet we are member of East African community. So you see, my brothers and sisters, we are not benefiting from that. Maybe the only person that benefiting from that is Salva Kiir. So why should we involve ourselves in a community that actually we are not beneficial? Also, South Sudan population is very small. We are just only 13 or 14 million people compared to Uganda 47 million and Kenya 50 some million. Okay. And Ethiopia 100 and some million. So we are nothing. What should have happened, we can have a trade like what they have in Scandinavian countries. They have something called Schengen Agreement. And that Schengen Agreement is allow them to trade among themselves. Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Finland. What else? Those Schengen countries, they call them Schengen countries, they have that trade. Okay, why don't we do like Schengen country trade? Because that's a mutual interest. Okay, we can set up those people who with big capital money, they can invest. They can invest in South Sudan. They can invest in Kenya. If Kenya grow tea and they have a lot of tea and coffee, okay, we can grow sugar cane. And then we can produce sugar in South Sudan because Kenya, they don't have. They have, what do you call it? Carrot sugar, which is bad for your teeth. When you drink tea from Kenya, it's not good. When I went to Kenya, I didn't want to drink tea at all. I was not drinking tea because the sugar that they have is bad. Okay, South Sudan can produce. Can be a serious agreement. South Sudan can produce sugar cane because we can do it. Our land is good for that. We can produce sugar. Okay, we can have granules, right? And we can have other products in South Sudan. So since Kenya produced that, we can take some coffee and then they can take sugar from us. They can buy sugar from us and we can buy coffee from them. They can buy oil from us and we can buy other material from them. If they have medical supply, we can buy it from them. That's fine. Whatever they can produce, we can buy. The same thing with Uganda. Uganda can buy from us and we can sell to Uganda. We can buy from Tanzania, we can sell to Tanzania, we can buy from Ethiopia, we can sell to, but it cannot be one way. Because if it's one way, then you are losing. See, and that treaty, the ministers of commerce from all these countries, they have to sit down, or whatever, the parliament of East Africa, they have to sit down and set up a treaty between these countries. That's how you cannot be taking advantage. But now they are taking advantage of South Sudan. They all come and work in UN. All the positions in UN is filled with Kenyans, filled with Ugandans, while the South Sudanese are there with nothing. Even within the government agencies, Kenya are working. They are working. They are working. Right? Is that fair? That's not fair. And that's why I'm saying that we are not gaining anything. And we should pull out. But of course, with Salva Kiir, we are not going to pull out because we need to get our rights. And that's why it's so important to have that change. Those who have children in Kenya and Uganda and they rent houses there, they need to listen to this message. We are part of East Africa. We cannot pay them with dollars. We're supposed to pay with local currency because we are part of East Africa. If they mean that. We don't want this, phony baloney thing like what Egypt has done to Sudan in 1960s. When Sudan actually, they are not member of Arab. They are not Arab. When Lebanon rejected Sudan and Arab League and said, when Jamal Abdel Nasser went ahead and said, oh, well, we can admit Sudan to become member of Arab League because they speak Arabic. But that's not what Jamal Abdel Nasser meant. Jamal Abdel Nasser actually wanted resources of Sudan. Jamal Abdel Nasser of Egyptian, actually, they don't want Sudan to develop. They don't want Sudan to have huge dams. They don't want Sudan, to develop, to have more opportunity to develop strong army, strong institution, and all these things. Sudan actually want the minority. Egypt actually want the minority in Sudan to control, because if the majority in Sudan, if they acquire power, and then they will be diversifying everything. You see, this is exactly what Museveni is doing, and Kenya and others in the region, because they destroyed Congo, they exploited Congo resources, and now this country emerged, South Sudan, this new country with the potential, economic growth, and it's going to be the destination of investors all over the world because we have what it takes. Okay, they grab that, you know, and rob that opportunity from our people because we have a weak leader, because we have Kir, somebody who cared just only to be in power, and they said, "Oh, this is an opportunity now," and that's why you see those leaders in the region, these countries, they want to keep actually the bad government. They want to keep Kir. They want to keep Kir in this position because as long as President Kir is there, they can get whatever they need. They can grab whatever they need. They can take advantage of South Sudan. I want you to hear this, and I want you to listen to this carefully because this is your country, and this is my country, and we have to think carefully about this country. But with President Kir in charge, we will never go anywhere. We'll be taking advantage always. You see all these economic issues that are happening in the country. Have you heard him talking, coming out of the podium and saying something about the economic issues, crisis happening in the country? No. He's using his own political deception by firing and hiring. So people can say, oh, the foreign minister of finance is the problem. And now I'm bringing a new minister of finance. Maybe he will fix economy. And he will instruct the minister, say, hey, go ahead and fix it. And he knows nothing minister can fix it because he already destroyed the economy. He's taking the oil money and dividing them among themselves. He knows. But for you to be deceived, you, the citizen, he will say, well, the new minister will come and fix this and will do this. But nothing new minister is going to fix because they know that. But this is the tactic that he has been using. So, my dear brothers and sisters, I read an article on Al Jazeera English. And this is the first time, actually, Al Jazeera, to write this kind of article saying that South Sudan on the brink, on the edge, something on the brink of the river, something can fall in the water easily after the oil being shut down because they were depending on the oil 98% on the oil. So now this government on the brink of collapsing because they are not paying salaries anyway. They are not paying salary to army. They are not paying salary to civil servant. Okay, they are not paying salaries to ambassadors, diplomatics, abroad. They are not paying them. Not too long ago, the ambassador in France was evicted from the house. In Italy, they evicted. In UK, they were evicted. They were evicted everywhere. The embassy of South Sudan, when you go here in Washington, D.C., cannot imagine. It is in Georgetown. I came and I just stood and I look at it. That is our embassy. You cannot imagine. Embassy of country that produce oil. Has a lot of money. While when you see embassy of Tanzania, you say, wow, See, so our diplomatic missions are being evicted from their residency and embassies that are closed. Is that a leader that you can be proud of? Salva Kiir may have. Is that somebody you can be proud of? Is that somebody you can say, no, give him a chance? And that's why I said those political vouchers in Juba, you need to stop, relying on, let's wait until he die. What if Kiir doesn't die? What you gonna do? You gotta wait like that? Okay, what if he died and then he groomed somebody like him come and then does the same thing? Are you also going to say, no, 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 let's wait until that person die? No. Somebody who is doing wrong thing, you don't give them an opportunity to continue to do bad thing. You take them off so others can learn. That's what should happen always. If we want to set up a good foundation and have not perfect society, but at least a good society, that's what we can do. And that's why change is so important and change is needed. And no one can come from outside to bring change. It's you. With the civic education that we do, it's not noisy. It's not just somebody making noise, as some do, some who wanted to fit in, some who are soliciting, positions to get in, to go and grab, to go and steal really quick and jump out and go and buy a house in Kenya, buy somewhere, or in US or in Australia. It's not. We are people with moral courage and obligation and conviction, with love to our country, because we care about everybody. We do. And that's why we continue to campaign. I continue to campaign with my colleagues, United Citizens for Change, and other opposition who really love this country, who care that actually the way forward is to remove the dictator, is to remove the kleptocratic regime that actually made our country laughing stock, the region. Because people, when they see South Sudan, oh, South Sudan, they make fun of it. But we are not people actually can make fun can be made of us, because we are smart and we are stronger. And we are always eager to learn more and to do more. And that's why you need to think. South Sudan is not short of leaders. South Sudan does not have deficit of leaders, good people with thoughts. We have a lot. We have people who can do more, better. But they have been oppressed. But to lift the oppression, we must rise up and we must stand together and say no and say enough is enough. We will continue. And I want you to share this live episode. Share it here on Facebook. Share it on YouTube. My channel on YouTube there, John Cormayol. Please go ahead and subscribe it so you can receive anything that new, all the new video. Subscribe it. I see that there are 375 people subscribe our channel, but you can subscribe it. And go ahead and share this live broadcast, because there are many people actually, they are eager to watch, but they don't have that opportunity. It doesn't send them notification anymore. There is no way they can get it. But if you share it, they will be able to receive it and they will listen to the message that we are sending. And we'll continue. We'll resist and persist sending this message out to our people so they can learn more about their right and stand up to themselves. So Kir can leave South Sudan, so South Sudan can be free, South Sudan that can plan, South Sudan that can grow, South Sudan that can have stability and justice, South Sudan that you can travel without intimidation on the roads, somebody intimidating you or harming you. That's South Sudan that we want. But that South Sudan is not going to happen as long as Kir is there in control. So thank you so much for watching. Please go ahead and share the Patriot South Sudan, the concerned South Sudan, and the Matokrap that in South Sudan too. Please go ahead and share this live episode. Until here, thank you so much. We'll see you in the next episode. I know Kir will leave. Those who want to chill with Kir will go to dustbin with Kir, and he will go, whether you like it or not. Thank you. Have a good day there. Have a good night here in the US. Bye-bye for now.